Mustangs, in your Mustang room today, you will be doing one of the most important setups of the entire school year. We have been very passionate about trying to track your level of proficiency on all the standards, the I can statements in all your different classes, whether that be math, science, language arts, social studies, and so forth. And to do so, we often use a tool that we've called the By the Student, By the Standard Mastery Tracker. It's a way that we can have teachers assess and evaluate how well you are learning each student against each standard that you're supposed to master in the course of the year. So your teachers have a big spreadsheet where they actually color code it, and they have all the lists of the names of the students down one side and all the lists of the standards along another. And, blue showing that this kid's really got it, green saying they've pretty much got it, yellow and red meaning they're working towards it. So they get to see that kind of thing, and that's how they know how well you are progressing in your learning. Now, it's important for a teacher to know. It's more important for you to know. The most important person to know about his or her learning is the person who's learning. And that's why we want to make sure you have your own version of the By the Student, By the Standard Mastery Tracker. And today, that's what we're doing. We're going to set it up for each and every one of you. Now, it's a little bit complicated, not very, but there are some steps to get it set up. Once it's set up, it will be a spreadsheet that you can save on your Google Drive throughout the course of the quarter. You can access it from your Chromebook. You can access it from home. You'll always be able to see the second a new score is added to your teacher's By the Student, By the Standard Mastery Tracker. You'll be able to see it on your own By the Student, By the Standard Mastery Tracker. So it's a good tool to get set up and make sure that you understand how it's working, because you'll probably want to watch it on a daily, if not period by period basis, to see how well you are doing in each of your classes, how well your grades are looking, and most importantly, how well you are mastering the concepts that you're working on. So we're going to do it together. I'm going to walk you through it step by step. Here we go.
To access the student edition of the By the Student, By the Standard Tracker, you can either use the link in your Mustang Room Google Slides, get a link from your teacher, or visit our website, westlakestem.org, and click on the Mustang Room page. The Mustang Room page has important links for students. If I scroll over there, I can see the By the Student, By the Standard Tracker in the B section. So I click on that, and immediately it's going to ask me to make a copy. You get to make your own copy of the By the Student, By the Standard Mastery Tracker for your own Google Drive. So I click on Make a Copy, and now this is a copy that should live on my Chromebook or be accessed from my Google Drive from home that is in my own Google Drive account. Because it's my very own, I can actually change the name to what I would like. I'm going to change it to my own name so that I know that this one is for me. After that, you should start on a tab where you need to provide the tracker some information. You'll notice down along the bottom, there are several tabs. The first one is your student info, and after that, it's going to show you how you're doing on your mastery in each of your classes. So please fill out the student info part first, or none of the other tabs will work. You do that by filling out each of these empty cells. Student name, Mr. Howe. Student ID, and this is just an example one. I'm going to put down my student ID number. Then you need to select each of your teachers. You can do that by clicking on the drop down. I'm in Mr. Armentrout's math class. I also then have Mrs. Bigelow for my second period teacher. Mrs. Bowman is my third period teacher. Fourth period is Mrs. Brundage, and then my fifth period teacher is Mrs. Carroll for French. Once I have filled out all of the student information on the first tab, I can then go to each of the other tabs to see the information of how I'm doing in those classes. So I click on my first period. You'll notice something immediately. It will look like it's not working because there's one more step you need to do to allow access to the data. You see some formulas that say #reference ! When I hover over that or click on that, it says you need to connect these sheets. And I simply need to come over and touch the button that says Allow Access. It will then pull the information from Mr. Armentrout's data about what standards I've been working on and how well I've done on those standards. It's going to show me that data for Mr. Armentrout's math class. I need to do that step for each of my class periods using each of the tabs at the bottom. When I go to second period, it once again is going to look like it's not working for Mrs. Bigelow's health class. I need to hover over that formula, click Allow Access, and it will once again pull the data for Mrs. Bigelow's by the student by the standard mastery tracker to show me how am I doing in her class right now in mastering these standards. I do the same for my third period, hover over it, click allow access, and then I will see the data for that class, Mrs. Bowman's. Fourth period, same thing, hover over it, click allow access, then I can see how I'm doing in science class. Finally, fifth period, hover over it, click allow access, and then I can see how I'm doing in my French class. Now, I only need to do that step the first time I set this up. So after this, you won't need to click on that anymore. Every time I visit these, it will show me how I'm doing on all of the common formative assessments and my level of proficiency. The second my teacher inputs a score, I will be able to see it from here. So this is a very important place to bookmark and to keep on tabs throughout the school year. So I would actually come up, and you can't quite see it because it's off the screen there, but I'm going to bookmark this page, and I would save that as anything I'd like to. I'm going to call it Mr. Howe's Google Sheets, and I'd hit done. Then once I've got a bookmark saved, I can always quickly access this spreadsheet to see how I'm doing in my classes. Check it every day, check it every period if you'd like. It's great to know how well you're doing and to track your own progress towards mastery. All right, Mustangs, that's it. Hopefully you now have your By the Student, By the Standard Mastery Tracker set up. You'll want to revisit it frequently and see how you're doing. Thank you, Mustangs.